Hi guys, good evening. So thanks for watching today's segment. Today is actually a continuation of yesterday. So yesterday I spoke about journaling and I covered how I categorize journaling into four types, although there are many subcategories if you can't break it up. And after I shared yesterday, I got several messages from a few people asking me more questions about journaling practice. So I decided I'm going to do one more segment on journaling, just to go a little bit deeper on the different practices of journaling. So the four journaling that I covered yesterday is, the first one is the most commonly used one, and I put it in a category by itself because it is so popular, and that is gratitude journaling. Yeah, a lot of people do practice gratitude journaling, and it has been shown to be immensely powerful in regulating our emotions and bringing us to a higher energy level and higher vibration, so that we are able to perform better in our everyday lives. So that's gratitude journaling, and that I think is quite straightforward for most people. Yeah, we need to set aside some time and just think about all the things that we can be grateful for in our lives. And if we, even on the worst days of our lives, there would be something that we can be grateful about. If worse comes to worse, the fact that we can breathe, the fact that our country is still peaceful for many of us, the fact that we just ate today. And there could be people who are in very difficult situations, but even if you are in a very difficult situation, if you dig deep, you will still find something to be thankful about. Even the smallest thing has been shown to increase our level of emotional stability by a lot. Hi uncle, hi Uma, nice to see y'all. So that's gratitude journaling, a very powerful practice. And the second one that I spoke about is review journaling, or what I would also call a diary. Is basically to keep track of whatever that happens in our lives, because sometimes we don't really have a theme for what is happening. We just want to keep track of events that is unfolding. In a way, gratitude journaling can also be part of it, but because you're only focusing on gratitude, you can split it out. In the same way, when we speak about review journaling, we could also break that up into, like some people who have anxiety, they may find it useful to write a significant part of their review journaling to be about anxiety, like when does the anxiety attack comes, and how are they feeling at that moment, what helps them. And if you keep doing it, you can actually start seeing a pattern. For example, this event happened, like every time I see my boss, I realize 2 hours later I'm getting anxiety attack. That there can be a pattern. Or when my mother comes to visit me, I get an anxiety attack. Or every time I read the COVID news, I get an anxiety attack. So when we see pattern, we can kind of like start to avoid the triggers, and then we will have better chance of reducing our anxiety as well, because we know that it's actually triggered by this. And that observation itself a lot of times can help to calm us down. So that's another way how review journaling can help. And review journaling can also help because as we write down the events as it unfolds, we will be able to capture patterns in other areas as well. For example, personal growth. And we can track ourselves, like we were here and now we have progressed on to here. So a lot of times when we feel like our life is not worth anything, or you're feeling really down in the doldrums, when you see things like that, it can actually make us feel better. Yeah, so that's another thing about journaling. When we look back, we can track ourselves. Other people can even write things like, for example, the food intake that they ate. and just writing that down for people with food allergies, or people who want to track about energy level, like you eat certain food, you have more energy, you eat other food, you have less energy. You can even write about that. So there are really no rules in journaling. It's about what is important to you. And when you start observing life through the journals, you will actually start realizing that there are specific areas in your own life that you want to observe more on. It will just naturally come to you. And there could be, like, some people want to observe more on, for example, finances. What are my financial habits? How am I spending money? It will naturally come to you. And as you observe it, you can make better decisions about your spending habits, saving habits, earning habits, and so forth. People who are trying to lose weight, or become a vegetarian, or trying to eat healthy, everyone can use it in a specific way. Or people who are trying to exercise, this exercise works, how did I feel after this? So when we start journaling about our lives, we can pick what is important for us. And sometimes different things can be different at different phases of our lives, and that's okay too. So that is for review journaling. And the third one is about, I actually talked about it, calling the emotional journaling. So this is moments when we are feeling very overwhelmed. We are feeling very overwhelmed. You can just have a book just for that. And this book, I would suggest not to even read it, but just go there and just write and just pour out everything that you want. In this is like done in a very emotional state, and you just want to, when you are very deeply sad or angry or feeling very frustrated, you just want the earth to open up and swallow you. That's a good time to do this kind of journaling. Just write it all out, cry, whatever, while you're doing it, and try to write. This is very important. Write non-stop, because when you are expressing the emotions, you want it to come from your subconscious. When we are writing non-stop, the conscious mind will not be able to cope, okay? Because the conscious mind needs to think and write. So when you write non-stop, you just write whatever, and if you cannot, you scribble, you just keep on writing. Your conscious mind will give up and just leave, and our conscious mind will take over. Our subconscious mind will take over, and a lot of that deep emotions, and it could be even deeper emotions that was triggered by today. A lot of times when we are upset or we are sad, it's not the event that actually happened right now. It could be a childhood trauma, and what happened today was just a trigger to open up an old wound, and everything just comes gushing out. So when we write, this actually can help us to bring out a lot of those kind of emotions, and it just flows into the piece of paper. And as I mentioned earlier, sometimes when you read this, in fact, I won't even suggest to read this. It's not important to read it. It's just a way to bring out your emotions. You don't even have to read it. But if you do try to read it, you may not even understand it, because, like I said, the subconscious does not talk in the same language that our conscious rational self understands. So a lot of it could be gibberish, could be just patterns. It doesn't matter. It has actually come out. So that is one. And the last one is the forward journaling, or outcome journaling. And this is a part of our goal setting. Yeah, this is actually used as part of our goal setting. And we can, this one is basically for us to sit down and think about how the next day is going to unfold. So in our mind, just like how world-class athletes, before they go into a match, they all have got their coaches who sit down and apply visualization techniques, like, for example, Usain Bolt, before he even gets onto his on the track, he sits down and he runs his entire race in his mind. He sees himself running, he sees how his hand moves, he sees how his legs are moving, and he sees the finish line and how he's closing in on it. Everything he sees in his mind first. and so many studies have shown that this works amazingly well. So now this is something that we can borrow from the world-class athletes and the successful people. We can imagine our entire day before it even happens, and if we write it down, we are using a lot more senses, and it's actually goes into our subconscious. So before the day starts, just write out what you want for the next day. In your As you write down, you will actually imagine the day unfolding. What happened in the morning, what happened in the afternoon, how your meeting went, how did that account that you really wanted, did you get it? How was your interaction with your family? How was your interaction with your boss? How was your meal? Like everything. How was the traffic? You can write everything out. Write out your perfect day in your journal, and write it in past tense. Write it like it has already happened and it's done with. You're just reliving it. And this is so powerful because it will just go inside. Sometimes certain things, let's say for example, you're waiting for something to happen. You're waiting for somebody, a new customer, to sign a new contract, or you are waiting for a sale to go through, or you're waiting for a new job or a promotion. It may not happen immediately, but if you keep that energy up, if you keep writing it, somehow or other you will be more alert to opportunities, you will be behaving in a different way, and you will be making that happen. Somehow or other you will. And if it really doesn't happen, then you just have to take it that it's not meant for you. But in most incidences, if it's something that is about to happen and it has got a very high possibility of happening, you will actually make it happen. Yeah, and you will live, because you know your goal so clearly. It will also shift the way you think, the way you behave, the way you do stuff, and this will increase the probability of that outcome that you desire so much. So this is the goal of outcome of forward journaling. Now, what are the rules for journaling? There are no rules. Yeah, there's actually no rules for journaling. You can do it, and you can set your own rules, and you can actually write in any way that you want. Yeah, you can choose the topic you want, you can choose themes that you want. If there are rules, these are a few of the rules. Do not censor yourself. When you write, do not censor yourself. Do not judge your spelling, do not judge your grammar. Just open up your heart and just write. And since you're writing it for yourself, don't worry about other people reading it. If you are worried about other people reading it, keep it in a very secure place, because you're not supposed to write it in a way that is meant to be read by somebody else. You write it for yourself. So you write it with openness, with truthfulness. It's a creative process, so you have to completely express yourself on paper. So that is one of the rules. Give yourself permission to just express 100%. And one thing that you want to be conscious about is, if you are expressing an emotional issue, you don't want to just express your emotions. You want to express your thoughts about that emotion as well. Because studies have found that journaling, a lot of studies on journaling has actually been done on the healing effects of journaling. And there's a lot of data to support that, journaling heals people, reduces stress, reduces anxiety, reduces panic attacks, make people feel more positive, enhances the immune system, and all those things. Lots of studies have proven that. But there is one thing that they found, that people who are just talking about their emotions, either I'm feeling scared, and they keep writing about it in that manner, they may not find, they may actually create more trauma in them. So it has to be reflective, in the sense that when you write about what your emotions, reflect a bit on it and write your own thoughts on it. So bring the consciousness. The first part is subconscious, your emotions. Bring the consciousness and just evaluate it. That's the real power of journaling, to have that reflective moment about your emotions. And if you do that, it's very, very powerful. So these are the things, and try to discipline yourself in a nice way. You don't want this to become a chore. You want it to be a process that you look forward for, but try to do it consistently at a specific time every day and enjoy the process. And that's all I have for today, and I will see you all again tomorrow. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great day.